Hello guys, welcome to my review of the Noppoo Choc Mini RGB mechanical keyboard. This is using the Noppoo blue clicky switches. The Noppoo switches are actually manufactured by Gaute, I believe. I've also tried, I believe it was Aotamu blues on my Z77E Element RGB, and I did not like those one bit, but these I like quite a bit more. This uses a 75% keyboard layout, so you get the standard 60% like base keys, and then you also get an F row and the arrow keys, page up, page down, home, end, and delete. So I got this keyboard from eBay. They go for around like $120 on Amazon, and I don't know if they're totally worth it for that unless you really want RGB and you really want 75%, but I managed to get mine on eBay for only 50 bucks because the seller was missing the cable, which is actually just a standard mini USB cable here. These things are so easy to find. You can actually get coiled ones, you can get braided ones, you can get colored ones. They're all over the place, and the cable routing goes left and right, and you can actually terminate it by going out the side or out the top, which is nice. So he didn't include a $1 cable, and then he also actually sent me the wrong thing. He sent me the backlit RGB version, and I'd actually ordered a regular Noppoo Choc Mini with brown switches. So I'm actually still in the market for a brown switch 75% keyboard, and I might be getting one soon. So that will be another video. Moving on, so this keyboard is the RGB effects. There's no software or anything. It's all with key combinations, and I just wanted to elaborate on some of the information that's already out there because there isn't a whole lot on YouTube that's in English about this particular keyboard. So let's go ahead and give a physical tour of it, which I will unplug for that. So let's go ahead and talk about the case. So the case is actually a pretty nice plastic. I do really like this. It's not a glossy plastic, so it doesn't leave fingerprints too badly. And then also there's 4 rubberized feet. There's some feet to stand it up higher, and these are also rubberized. There's a compartment here for batteries, and that's actually, I'm guessing this case is the same case used for a wireless version, so this door actually doesn't do anything. You can see the branding Noppoo Choc Mini. Overall, I really like the case. I like how slim it is. It has a good texturing to it. It's not quite a flat black plastic. I don't know why my camera is so grainy. But yeah, and it also matches the color of the keycaps very well. Maybe that helps. Sure. Moving on to the keycaps themselves, I'm actually quite disappointed with. The keycaps aren't textured at all, and they feel pretty cheap. So I'll just take this off. Actually, let's do the F key. All right. So you can see here, there's a little bit of texturing, but honestly that's more skin oil that you're just seeing. They're actually not really textured much at all. They are nice and thick. I'll go ahead and pull off, let's see. I'll pull off a keycap for my Corsair K70 so you can see. So this is the K70 and this is the Noppoo Choc Mini. And something that's important to note about these is look at the size of the keycap. So the Noppoo Choc Mini is on your right here, and it is a lot smaller than the same F key on the Corsair K70. So although this keyboard uses standard keycaps, if you mix and match like I do here, these are actually going to be different heights from what a lot of these other keycaps will be, just because these ones are so thin. You can also see the Corsair one also is a pretty flat keycap with not a lot of texturing on it either. They're about the same. So because of the shorter height, I actually had to use, normally I go with 2 O-rings on my Corsair keycaps, but I could only fit 1 on these ones. And honestly, 1 seems like gives me a tighter tolerance than 2 on the Corsair keyboard. The shine through on the plastic here isn't that great. They're an ABS plastic, and I am probably, if I decide to keep this keyboard, which I don't know, I might go to a Noppoo Nano S, which has different keycaps, but I might switch the keycaps out for these because I don't really like these. And also when the light's off, you can see there's not a lot of contrast between the lettering and between the keycap itself. Also, it's important to note the shift here is shorter than this one. I mean, I shift with this one anyway, and since I game, you know, as long as all these keys are standard, then I'm okay with that. Something that, just from typing on this for a little bit now, something that I kind of underestimated is because there's no gap between the F row and the top row of numbers here, it actually makes it kind of weird. So when you sit down at your desk and you go to align your hands on the typing position, sometimes I found myself misaligning myself because I'm used to seeing a gap up here for the F row, and that kind of, you know, subconsciously was helping me center myself on the keyboard. Okay, now to talk a little bit about the switches. So the Noppoo blue switches, as I'll show you here, are similar to Cherry MX blues in that they are clicky. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but they are branded with Noppoo. However, like I said, they're manufactured by Automu. I'm sorry, not by Automu, by Gaute. So these I tested. I took quarters, I weighed them on my gram scale, my kitchen scale, and I tried 55 grams worth of just like spare change on various keys, and these all do have a pretty consistent 55 gram actuation force. I used to use Automu blue switches on my Z77E element RGB that I got off of Mass Drop, and that thing was wildly inconsistent, and one of the keys actually required a ridiculous amount of force to press down. And that was my M key, and that was kind of a deal breaker for it. Made me never really want to use the keyboard. So these are 55 grams across the board to actuate over the click, and the click is a little bit sharper. I used to have a Cherry MX blue switch keyboard and a Razor Black Widow, and these are slightly sharper of a click than that. I'm somebody who doesn't really like the sharp click as much. I can deal with it. I just like that it's a tactile switch, but I still think I like my browns a bit more. Other than that, they feel pretty much the same as a Cherry MX in terms of travel and everything. But if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to respond as quickly as possible. So now let's move on to the lighting. The real reason why I made this video, because there is, as far as I can tell, there are like no resources online for figuring out the color options. So everything is done by, you can see here, there's some front printed keycaps. You have media keys over here. That's another thing. You have to do FN and then one of these to control media keys. It's pretty good, but I wish that, you know, this is a bit of a stretch. I wish that they maybe put them over here, but instead over here they actually have the numpad, so you can actually use, I think it's FN and then one of these scroll lock buttons, or one of these buttons, and it'll lock in the number pad, so you can do some accounting. But anyway, so yeah, media keys are a thing on this. So about the backlighting, there is a couple things to note. So if I go ahead and change FN1 to turn this off, you can actually see the caps lock light lights up, and then also FN and these two lock buttons. All these lights are independent from the other lights, so you can see they're still lit. However, these are in between the keycaps instead of directly under, so you can definitely tell, you know, they don't really conflict with the lights as much. Okay, so now to go over the lighting effects, you do FN 1 through 5, and you can do each number multiple times. So FN 1 will be red, and then you can just keep holding FN and do 1 to cycle through, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 colors, and then off as well. So then you can add to this with a reactive text, which is FN and then the 2 button. So you can see here, this is all reactive, and it's like an RGB reactive. I don't know if there's a way to change it to a solid color reactive, but anyway. So you can also change this duration of this reaction. Oh, first of all, I'll talk about brightness. So brightness is FN down and FN up. There's 5 different brightness levels. But to change the speed of the reaction, it's the right and left arrow keys. So that's the slowest. So to the right is the slowest, and then to the left, that makes it faster. If you do FN2 again, now it's another reactive mode, but instead it does the key that you're pressing plus 4 around it. Yeah. So if I want to slow that down, I actually like this version of the reactive text. Oh, there you go. Sometimes it actually turns off. I don't know why. Yeah, see. So it just cycles through those 8 colors and then also off, unfortunately, but okay, whatever. FN2 again disables the reactive text. FN3 can give us a wave pattern. And again, you can increase or decrease the speed that this spreads out with the right and left arrow keys. FN3 again, there's this other kind of wave pattern, but instead it's shooting like a line across. And again, it's that RGB color. And again, you can change the duration of this, so if I want to make it slower. FN3 again, and now all those wave patterns are off. FN4 will give us a pulsing heartbeat. And then this background around the heart will fade in and out. And as far as I know, the speed keys, the speeding up and slowing down doesn't do anything to this. Also, it's unfortunate to note that the background, how it fades in and out of different colors, is kind of chunky. It's not as smooth. I used to have a K65 RGB, and that was very smooth in the transitions. And this one, it definitely kind of dims down and then gets brighter in very obvious steps. It's not terrible, though. It still looks good. So FN4 again disables that. FN5, and now we have a rainbow fade through pattern. This is the one that I personally favorite. FN5 again does a rainbow fade, but I think it like reverses the colors or something like that. I'm not completely sure. FN5 again, and it's off. So you can also combine things. So if I wanted to do FN5 with the fade through and also FN2 reactive, I can do oh, I guess I actually can't. I don't know how I got it earlier before, but I was getting multiple colors in reactive. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to read in the manual how to do that. I do know you can change this background color and you can keep it on reactive, but whatever, that's another thing to figure out another day. FN5, yep, just fades through. FN6 is the demo mode. Now, 6 actually displays like a snake and some other things. Yeah, this wave pattern here. I don't know how to actually do those on the keyboard. There is a small miniature software disk that this comes with, but I don't have a CD drive on my computer, so I can't, confirm or deny if there's anything additional. And then you can also speed this up and slow it down. So with all of that, I guess that pretty much does it for the keyboard. I do really like it. I still think I'd rather use the brown switches, but I mean, I'm not going to argue because I did receive a pretty darn nice keyboard for, oh, okay, camera focus. I did receive a pretty nice keyboard for a pretty low price. So I'm pretty happy about that. Oh, it says I love you. Oh, and just some other specs to go over real quick. So you do see here, it's 100% anti-ghosting, full N key rollover over USB, and it has this like 1 millisecond response time thing. I don't know if that actually makes a difference, but a big thing I do really like about this keyboard is my K70. Even on the like 4 different BIOS settings, I was having problems with some keys sometimes not registering in game. This, I have not had any of that kind of problem. It is so nice having a keyboard that I can reliably use in games and do as many key presses as I want to. Okay, well, I guess with that said, thank you guys very much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the description. I'll get back to you as soon as possible, and I will see you all in the next.